That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
So the Matildas are history makers after leaving the quarterfinals for the first time in their history. This is the Kickoff Show with myself, Ollie Geale, Melissa Barbieri, and of course Archie Thompson. Bubs, what a game, what a penalty shootout. It was just a great spectacle.
Yeah, my heart hasn't stopped beating for sure. It's been the pinnacle of our Matildas history.
Let's talk about that shootout from a goalkeeper's perspective, and then if you're kicking it from the spot, Mackenzie Arnold was just elite.
Yeah, I think there are a certain type of keeper that, you know, are really good at penalties, and Mackenzie Arnold is just somebody that's very good at penalties. One stat that you don't see is how many penalty saves a goalkeeper makes. You know, when you go through a season, you see how many goals are scored and all these sort of stats, but very rarely have you seen a number, and she does save a lot of pens, even in England.
And Archie, we saw 20 penalties last night. It was a hell of a long shootout. Yep. The pressure of taking one of those spot kicks would just be huge.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't think I've put myself in a position like that before, and purely because I didn't want to be that person that missed. So you can imagine a whole of Australia watching that you could potentially miss and, you know, not be in a World Cup. That's what's going through these girls' minds. So hats off, incredible, incredible.
So we now turn our attention to the semi-final between the Matildas and the Lionesses. This is going to be such a huge game. It's an old school rivalry. Bubs, what are the key takeaways and what are we supposed to expect for this game against England?
I think it'll be a tough matchup, especially because a lot of our girls play in England now. But the fact of the matter is that our girls play in England. We play all over the world, actually. But the fact that we now respect our opponents, but we do no longer fear them. And that's the most important part, that we have some incredible players on the park that can match up anybody in that, Lionesses lineup. For example, Georgia Stanway in the middle of the park there against your Katrina Gorries and your Kyra Cooney Crosses. For me, the biggest part will be, can Sam Kerr start the match, and her ability up against the likes of Millie Bright or Carter in the back line for the Lionesses. I think we have them for speed.
You feel like Sam Kerr's cobwebs have been well and truly dusted by now, so she's got the potential to start in this game?
I think she does, and she played such a huge part in the quarterfinal that I feel like she could start and have a lot to do. But I also feel like her ability to hold up the play and draw in Mary Fowler will be the key to us going forward. If we can pin with Hayley Rasso and Caitlin Ford out wide, their Lucy Bronzes and their Rachel Dailies, they can't get forward and score goals. So, you know, I want them to be man-marked the whole game, thinking about our girls rather than getting up to the pitch and scoring their goals.
Archie, it feels like we're a really good chance against England. Yeah. And of course, like Colombia in the quarterfinals, they pushed them the whole way, really. They were a really plucky side against England.
Well, look, I know that the confidence with Australian fans with this Matildas side is sky high. But you can't forget what this English team has. It's they're 4th in the world. They're reigning European champions. They've got quality all over the park. And look, Colombia did take it to them, but you could see the quality that the English team have. But we've faced that. We can sit in our structure, and we've got speed to be able to counter that. So there is a lot of quality all over the park.
So on the other side of the card, the second semi-final we need to talk about is, of course, between Spain and Sweden. And Archie, Sweden have really knocked out some big guns so far this tournament.
Well, yeah, the US, and I actually thought this was Japan's tournament, the way that they were playing. But the dominance and the physicality that the Swedes brought into that match, they're a real threat to go on to the final.
Bubs, where's this game going to be won and lost, do you think?
I think through the centre of the park. I mean, if Sweden can find those really exposing passes going forward, they can really break down that Spanish defence. But of course, on the other coin, Spain have some really top-class players that they can keep the ball under that physicality of Sweden. And also Musovic in goals for Sweden, top-notch.
So, 2 great semi-finals. Let's look back to Matildas and England. Final score predictions. What do you think?
I think Matildas all the way. That's in our DNA. I feel it in my DNA that we're going to the final. So Matildas all the way.
Archie?
Well, I was sitting on about 180 heart rate. So I can go again. Penalty shootout, Tillies.
I agree with you both. It is crazy to think that the next time that I'm going to be joined by you two here on the Kickoff Show, we could be talking about the fact that Australia, the Matildas, are in the World Cup final.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.